It does appear that better days lie ahead for 9-year-old Pt.4, who was in chains for a month without food. He has now been adopted by the Ogun State government. The wife of the governor, Mrs. Olufunsho Amosun, says that his welfare will be monitored on a daily basis, while the state government prosecutes all those behind his ordeal.
Since the rescue of Pt.4 on July the 22nd from the cruel hands of his father, the story of the 9-year-old boy has continued to elicit sympathies. This time, wife of Ogun State Governor is at the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, where he is receiving medical attention.
We are managing the child for child abuse and malnutrition, chronic malnutrition. This morning, the child appears brighter and looks better than when the child came into the hospital.
The mother of the nation has followed this case from the very onset. Even before it was officially declared in the papers or announced, she was one of the first to say to me that she had heard this instance that has occurred in Ogun State, and she has been very passionate about it. Throughout yesterday, she interacted with me, wanted to know the condition of the child and actions that have been taken, and I think that that is worthy of note, that we have a compassionate wife of the president.
It is more cheery news as the State Commissioner for Education announces government's plan to adopt Korede and care for him.
He's been adopted by the first family in the state, so it goes without saying that educationally he's pretty much set. We'll follow it through to whatever dimension. I'm told that he has mentioned in previous discussions that he would like to be a doctor. That is an indication of the level of his intelligence.
Plans are also underway to commence a legal process to bring to justice all those involved in the inhumane act.
I, as the Attorney General, would take over the matter in line with due process and ensure that culpability is established and full punishment imposed.
Authorities say members of the public with information about similar cases of child abuse should come out with such and help in curbing such acts of man's inhumanity to man.
What a story. Rescue at last for Korede. Let's now shift gears and move on to sports news with Ayo Balogun.
Many thanks, Gimba. Indeed, interesting times for Chelsea midfielder John Mikel, who's now been chosen to captain Team Nigeria at this year's Olympic Games, while female tennis star Funke Oshunake will be his assistant. Mikel, who opted out of the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, China, has been included in Nigeria's squad for the men's football event after indicating interest to represent the country at the multi-sports event. The 29-year-old is one of Coach Samson Siasia's 3 permitted overage players, with the rest of the team being under 23. He will miss the start of the English Premier League season. Swiss tennis great Roger Federer will miss the rest of 2016 in order to further treat his previously injured knee. The 17-time Grand Slam winner has endured a troublesome campaign, which included withdrawing from the French Open owing to a back complaint, although he did reach the Wimbledon semi-final before losing to Milos Raonic. However, an upcoming appearance at the Olympics will now be cancelled as Federer prepares to sit out until next year as a result of ongoing issues with his knee. The International Canoe Federation has banned 5 Russians from the Rio Olympics, including a defending champion Alexander Dyachenko. The others are European champion Andrei Krytor, Olympic bronze medalist Alexei Korovashkov, Elena Anyushina and Natalia Podolskaya. The kayakers and canoeists were implicated by the McLaren report. The ICF said it won't ban the federation but issued immediate suspensions on the athletes pending further investigation. Indian shot putter Inderjeet Singh has failed a dope test. The 28-year-old said he was informed by the National Anti-Doping Agency that his A sample had tested positive for banned substances. Inderjeet, who won the gold medal at the Asian Athletics Championships in 2015, said all his earlier tests had been negative. Reports in Italy say Argentine striker Gonzalo Higuain has completed his £75.3 million move from Napoli to the Old Lady that's Juventus. Higuain has signed a 4-year contract with the Serie A champions worth £6.3 million per season. The 27-year-old passed medical in Madrid on Friday after Juve agreed to pay his full release clause, a record transfer fee for the Serie A champions. He becomes manager Massimiliano Allegri's 5th signing of the summer, following the acquisitions of Miralem Pjanic, Dani Alves, Mehdi Benatia and Marco Piazza. And that's it on Sports News. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. The news at 10 continues shortly.
Twin car blasts have left 13 people dead in the Somali capital, Mogadishu. The attacks happened near an entrance to the airport, one near a checkpoint and another hit the airport's perimeter wall. Authorities said that those killed are believed to have been security guards at the airport. 7 of them worked with the United Nations. The African Union, which has an AMISOM force in Mogadishu, has condemned the attacks, saying that they aim to disrupt and cripple the lives of ordinary Somalis. Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attacks. The group has been known to regularly attack AMISOM, made up of 22,000 military personnel from Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia and other African countries, helping to support the Somali government and the military. A constitutional court in South Africa has approved the Treasury recommendations that President Jacob Zuma pay 7.8 million rands for non-security upgrades of his private home in Nkandla. The court had ordered the president to pay back some of the $16 million spent on the upgrade. The president had previously said he would pay some of the money used to refurbish the residence. Opposition in the country had jumped on the ruling, criticizing the president for corruption and mismanagement of funds and calling for his resignation. The president is yet to comment on the ruling. And prosecutors in France say they have information one of the attackers at the church was on probation and was wearing a surveillance tag at the time of the attack. 84-year-old father Jacques Hamel was given morning mass when the armed men stormed the church. They slit his throat and took 4 people hostage. Police shot dead the 2 hostage takers who declared allegiance to ISIS. President François Hollande, who visited the scene of the attack, later said that the attackers had committed a cowardly assassination and France would fight ISIS by all means. And the main news again. The Monetary Policy Committee today announced an increase in interest rates to 14% from 12%. The Central Bank Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, who made the announcement at the end of the committee 2-day meeting, explained that the decision is based on the rise in inflation and the weak macroeconomic environment, as well as the contraction in output growth. Also today, President Muhammadu Buhari commissioned the Abuja-Kaduna rail services with a promise to link more cities in the country by rail to fast-track economic development. And at least 13 people were killed today in suicide bombings which targeted the African Union peacekeeping base in the Somali capital, Mogadishu. And that wraps it up on the news at 10 tonight. I want to thank you so much indeed for watching. I am Gimba Omar on behalf of the entire production team. Have a splendid night rest. Good night.